Hi, I'm Rory Verrett. Welcome to Sovereign Path. This is the first show of 2026. So Happy New Year, everyone who's listening and following the show. Let me start with something that might make you uncomfortable if you've spent years perfecting your resume. The interview matters more than anything else in an executive job search, more than your pedigree, more than your brand name employers, more than the beautifully written resume that took you 3 weeks and 3 advisors to finalize. Study after study show that once you've made it to the interview stage, the resume is largely done doing its work. Hiring managers routinely say that 70 to 80% of final hiring decisions come down to interview performance. Another widely cited stat says that nearly 40% of candidates who look perfect on paper are rejected after the interview because they simply don't connect, don't clarify, or don't inspire confidence. And here's the one that should really land. Most interviewers make a preliminary judgment in the first 5 to 10 minutes, not because they're careless, but because humans are humans. After that, the rest of the interview often becomes confirmation, not discovery. So if you're spending 90% of your job search strategy on applications and 10% on interview prep, you're doing it backwards. A great interview isn't about being impressive. It's about being precise. It's about helping the interviewer understand who you are, what you do best, and why you make sense for this moment in their organization. And that starts almost immediately with the question everyone gets and almost everyone fumbles. So, tell me about yourself. This is not an invitation to walk through your resume. It's not a biography. It's an opening argument. A strong answer is an elevator pitch that connects your past to their present. It answers 3 things clearly and calmly: who you are as a leader, what problems you're known for solving, and why that's relevant now. When this answer is tight, the rest of the interview flows. When it's rambling or generic, you spend the rest of the hour trying to recover ground you never should have lost. Then come competency-based questions. These are the tell me about a time when questions. They sound simple, but this is where many executives underestimate the rigor. Great answers are specific, grounded, and outcome-oriented. They show judgment, not just activity. They make your decision-making visible. They don't just say what happened, they explain why you chose that path, what trade-offs you weighed, and what you do differently today. This is where leadership maturity shows up. Or doesn't. For executives in transition, there's another layer that has to be handled with care: the transition questions. Why are you leaving? Why now? Why this role? These questions aren't traps, but they are tests. They want to know if you're running from something or running towards something. When your transition narrative is clear, values-based, and forward-looking, it creates trust. And then we get to the most underestimated moment in the interview, the final question. Do you have any questions for us? This is not a throwaway. This is not the time to ask about vacation policy or org charts. This is your last chance to demonstrate how you think. Great candidates ask questions that signal perspective, pattern recognition, and genuinely curious notions about the business. They ask about strategy, culture, decision rights, success metrics, and the unspoken challenges of the role. When you do this well, the dynamic subtly shifts. Let me make all this information and perspective about interviews with a personal story. Let me make it real. My daughter interviewed for an exclusive program at a European university last week. Highly competitive, limited spots, a serious interview. We didn't wing it. We didn't say, she's smart, she'll be fine, just be yourself, have a conversation. We prepped 12 times. We worked on clarity. We worked on confidence. We worked on how to answer hard questions without oversharing or shrinking. We practiced how to pause, how to structure answers, how to land a point, and when to stop talking. Is it any wonder she got the offer the very next day, and then 2 days later, a scholarship? That wasn't luck. That was preparation meeting opportunity. Executives are no different. In fact, the stakes are higher. The roles are more complex. The margin for error is smaller. And yet, I see incredibly accomplished leaders walk into interviews underprepared every single week, assuming their track record will speak for itself. It won't. You have to speak for it. The interview is where your experience gets translated. It's where your judgment becomes visible. It's where confidence without arrogance, humility without insecurity, and clarity without rigidity all come together. If this resonates and you know your interview performance could be sharper, more intentional, more sovereign, this is work I do directly with executives. Interview coaching isn't about scripts or gimmicks. It's about helping you tell the right story, the right way, and at the right altitude. If you're interested, reach out to me at rory.verrett@protegesearch.com, because in an executive job search, the interview isn't just a step in the process. It is the process. And how you show up determines everything that follows.